Hey y'all. End of day 3. Jess has no power. I have power.
You have the power.
I am all that is mine.
You have the power.
We're in my garage right now.
Yep.
Because I offered for my friends, of course, multiple friends, to come over and take a shower.
Yep.
And rinse off from life.
So, tensions were a little high at my house today, concluding day 3 of no power and no water, because we don't have water with our well. Now, we have some systems, so we have drinking water, and Maya was actually moving the generator over to the well house to get the animals all watered so we didn't have to haul it up from the ponds. But my kids were it was getting tense.
So it's like Jeremiah he's okay with being stinky?
No, he's gonna
take
shower.
a bath in the...
He's gonna shower. Yeah, like
in the pond?
When he gets the well running, he'll have it where he can. But we're not gonna leave the generator on the well super long, so he'll be able to shower.
I just picture him being like majestic in the pond.
With his hair.
Yes, just
Yeah.
I got the generator running.
But yeah, showers make a big difference in morale.
They do,
and we needed a morale boost today.
Yeah. Well, and we were just talking about this how I was trying to make a video, and y'all will see this video before this one where I throw a temper tantrum. And before I threw the temper tantrum, I blew off my driveway, and what I tried to go for was the simplest things as just to make your life feel like it's back to normal when there's something so traumatic that's happened.
For sure.
I mean, like, no power is scary. The fact that y'all still don't have power is...
We probably won't have power for another week.
Right.
Because we're so rural, and, like,
Right.
I sent you pictures, but, like, around the corner from my house, there's still power lines blocking the road, and it's 4 days in. This is after they've come and cleaned up some of the trees. It's pretty bad. So, it is one of those times where I'm thankful to be prepared, largely, but this has definitely revealed a lot of the gaps in our preparedness plan.
Absolutely. Especially with us, like I started raising the meat birds, and I need freezers, and with no power, luckily we got power back within a day. Luckily, where I'm located, I'm near a school, and I'm right off of a major highway, so we got power relatively quick, which is great. But that might not always happen.
Right.
And the fact that we don't have a generator is scary. And we were just talking about this as well. As I focused mainly on keeping one tractor full, it has 30 birds in it, alive during this whole storm, because they're already paid for. That's a stress that I had to figure out on my own.
Yeah.
That I don't want that stress again. I will still sell birds. I just will not pre-sell.
Yeah.
All those birds are paid for and pre-sold, and that's makes me nervous.
Yeah. I mean, for me, one of the big things that I'm realizing, like, I've got to make an adjustment in this is I am extremely reliant on my freezers. And then the whole water issue, I'm looking at alternate energies, and then also some different things that we could potentially have on hand, and some systems that we could have that if we, like, outdoor shower. Like, I was looking at, like, the big bladders that you can get for water. I'm looking at some different rain catchment things, and I'm not trying to just bring a ton of redundancy, because, like, I understand, I mean, we could go put all this effort into building systems that are emergency systems, but at the same time, like, rain catchment, I mean, we could use that anyway, you know, like,
use it anywhere.
And doing the outdoor shower thing, well, heck, that would be super nice to have. You know, build an outdoor shower up by the garden to be able to go and, like, shower off at the end of working. I mean, I come in regularly during the summer, just disgusting.
And yet, like, those showers aren't going to be cold either. Like, it's going to be a relatively nice shower. Yeah,
those bladder things are dark usually, and you build them. You basically build it, it has to be up so it can be gravity fed, and you build it in such a way that there's rain catchment into the bladder, and it sits and it holds the water in this dark thing, so it holds the UV and warms it. Another thing I was thinking that would be really good, my friend Kimberly actually mentioned this. She said get a big black horse trough and fill it with water and cover it with a trash bag, and just let that sit out in the sun and warm up. She's like, there you have a bath.
Right.
I'm seriously thinking about, like, building an outhouse. I mean, we live on septic, and there's only so much we can do with the pump not running.
Agreed.
And so, like, we have not been using our septic system. We
Yeah.
just go in the woods, which is like, we were saying this, but, like, there's a certain measure of, like, being a little redneck that comes in handy.
Listen, you know which leaves not to use.
like, listen, I've popped a squat in the woods so many times, I don't need it to be an emergency.
A staple in my truck, my hunting bag, is a roll of toilet paper.
Yeah.
Because you just...
Well, I mean, if you're going to go camping ever, that's just reality. Right. And obviously, it's not like the most comfortable thing. It's not my choice. But in the case of this, how many people are going to have plumbing issues that did not have power or water?
Right.
And they were not able to actually flush their toilet, but they used it anyway.
Yeah.
Because they haven't wrapped their head around discomfort. I came home yesterday, I went in public. I was a little fire breathing. I actually ended up, you have a fuzz. I actually ended up going to bed early. Jeremiah was like, Jessica. Because I was just like,
yeah, fuming.
I'm just so angry sometimes at the injustice of, like, we have forgotten how to human.
Right.
Like,
it's like the whole world has just started hiccuping. Or you choked on your spit. You never heard anybody say that. You're like, you just start coughing. And you're like, I forgot how to human for a second because like you just choked on your own spit. That's the whole world right now is choking on their own spit.
The number of things yesterday I went out to get paper plates and stuff like that because I don't have anything like that. Yeah. And so I'm sitting here washing all these dishes with water I hauled and boiled, and I'm like, this is gotta get like. So I went to get paper plates and just went out. And the number of people that I heard complaining at Walmart because, like, they had to throw out all the food in their coolers. Mm-hmm. And people are angry. They're restocking the food, but they got it roped off. And people are angry because they can't get to their products that they wanted. And I'm just sitting there thinking, like, what are you going to do? Like, people... what has happened that we think as a society that other people are always going to be there to take care of us?
That's the truth.
The prepper in me is like riled right now.
Oh, yeah. Right. I'm like, I don't know if I have enough ammunition. That's what I'm worried about. Okay. Stuff starts going down the hill. Well, I know you're not. Listen, honestly, right I'm on the way. Just so you know what my truck looks like. Don't shoot me. Come up with call signs like, if you see my arm out the window with my hat, it's really me. Someone could have taken me over.
Oh my goodness.
That's the type of stuff that I'm worried about, right? Because it's like, if stuff goes down, people are going to lose their minds.
I was talking to a friend of mine today that said that somebody came up to their house that was just going door to door needing water because he's living in a camper and was basically getting into a desperate situation. And he didn't have any gas to drive into town. And so he's going door to door in his community looking for water. And I'm just like, man, it is a very sobering reality. And here's the deal. We are extremely fortunate where we are. As far as this storm goes, Helene came up through Florida and, of course, was, I think, Category 5 when it hit. I think they've determined that. And so it was on the ground for, 500 miles, 480 miles, something like that, between where it hit landfall and us. Yeah. Which means that the people before us all had it worse. Yeah. And then it goes up into North Carolina, and then they have some major infrastructure failures, massive flash flooding. I think they arguably have it worse of everybody, in the Asheville area. So of everyone impacted by the storm, South Carolina actually is probably the best off, except for the massive power outages. We have more people without power right now than any of the other places. Right. But with that being the case, even with us being so fortunate, the amount of complaining that I'm seeing and people just not knowing, not feeling any sense of personal responsibility, I'm just like, man, I want to do better. Like, I want to take responsibility in this and use this as a grace and a mercy to look at the systems we have in place and be like, how could I need less? Yeah.
Well, it's also good too because I have seen a lot of local businesses just up the road from us, JC's Outdoors. They travel often to places that have had natural disasters with a shower trailer. Yep. And so they're out there cooking food for people. So the community is there, but to what you're saying, I don't want to have to rely on community. Yeah. It's nice to rely on community. Yeah. but I don't want to have to rely on it.
Sure. And I think that there's also always going to be people in any society that can't do for themselves.
True.
You know, you have your
True.
elderly or disabled, you have your children, you have the people who do not have the capacity
Right.
to do what we can do,
Yeah.
you know? And that's why it is important for the people who are able-bodied and sound mind and all the different things to do what they can to have the extra to contribute. But man, the thing I've been thinking about, I just went to New England 2 weeks ago now. Time seems to have become very blurry. This week feels like the longest day.
Well, like seriously, we're back in the Stone Age. It's like,
Yeah.
on their last high moon wicking thumbnail.
Exactly.
You know.
But I did a talk up there in New England about resilience and like talking about like what is resilience. And this is something that's just been so heavy on my heart lately. And it's so crazy to come home and have my own resilience tested.
No, yeah, true.
It's a blessing, I think, to be able to have my own resilience tested. But it really is alarming to me, the fragility of our society because
Absolutely.
of people not necessarily being willing to take responsibility for themselves.
I agree.
Like, it's alarming to me. And it's awesome that like JC's, I saw several places in town, like people who have big grills are
Right.
coming, and they're telling people, if you've got meat thawing, bring it up here, let's just go ahead and cook it
Yeah.
and give it out to people. And so that's what people are doing. I mean, they're like, well, I'm losing my freezer, might as
Right.
well
Why
use
let it go to waste? Like,
And so
let's help feed people.
that's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
I love seeing stuff like that. But also, man, it's another thing I thought of. It sucks that people are having to empty out the contents of their fridges and freezers when food is so dang expensive right now.
Right.
I mean, that's another blow.
It's
The
true.
number of people, like, when I was driving through Lexington yesterday, and, like, all these people are out eating at restaurants and all this stuff, and I'm like, I know people don't have the money to do this.
Right.
Like, it's tight.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's definitely been a lot to think about.
It has. There's a lot to really assess in our own lives that hopefully stuff like this, like our being on YouTube and being able to,
Right.
to express the things and stuff, like reaches the people that they like. Same with how COVID reached a lot of people and made them start rethinking how they're
Yes.
doing life. That like maybe they'll come across stuff like this and they're like, you're right. Like turn your waiting room into a classroom. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a canner is expensive, but it's it's worth it.
Yeah, losing a freezer full of meat's more expensive.
Right. You can can that meat and it's sitting on a shelf. It's not,
Right.
it has nothing to do with the AC being on or a freezer being running. Like,
Well-
and there's a lot of people who will teach you how to can.
Yeah.
It's scary at first, but once you start to get into the rhythm and you start learning there's
Yeah.
recipes out there that are amazing. I have beef stew sitting on my shelf right now from deer that I've processed and stuff.
I
And
mean,
so
I've been using stuff that I can. I've been trying to get through my fridges just because we have the generator right now. We have fuel for it, but I don't know how long we're going to be without
Right.
power. So like, I'm just trying to get through anything perishable. But I finally started using some of the canned food, and I've always been like, I don't can a ton of my food because I don't love eating canned food. But now I'm looking at this being like, it would be at least smart to get some of the pressure off my freezers.
I don't love being hungry.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
mean, I don't like wasting stuff
True.
either. Like, I don't
That's
want to
true.
grow all this food and then have it go bad because of power outage. And, like, yeah, it's great to have generators and all that stuff, but it's all short term.
Yeah.
And, I mean, those people up in North Carolina that are flooded out, like, there's a very good chance, I mean, beyond the people who lost everything, I mean, there's a very good chance that some of those areas are not going to have power for weeks.
True. And then some of those people are going to be, I mean, I've seen, like, they've had to airlift a lot of people out, like, just rescuing people. Like, some people are not even going to be able to return to their homes, type
crazy.
of stuff. Like, how, like,
And
so,
I think you said it about COVID, and that's why I just started filming like crazy. I started filming as soon as I realized a hurricane was going to hit us. I started filming, and I was like, I'm going to make lots of content from the middle of this because we forget so quickly how fragile we are.
Right.
And I let it be a reminder, like, hey, if you've had it on your list to get some of that water, I'm me. Like, I do this as my job. Like,
right.
I consider myself very prepared. And for the most part, we've handled this really well. Like, we had a lot of stuff. But there's some gaping holes, like, I didn't fill up my tub. We didn't think the storm was going to hit us. Like, had I known, I'd have done a lot of things differently.
Yeah, I feel bad because I knew there was a storm coming. I'm telling you, Chastity is Jim Cantori, okay? I married Jim Cantori with hair, okay?
Channel.
She loves, it's raining outside, Weather Channel. And I'm like, I was trying to watch that, okay? I'm sitting there watching like Friends, okay? So it's something I've seen 18 million times. She's watching the Weather Channel. I knew there was a storm coming, but I didn't even care. It wasn't like I didn't think it was going to hit us. It's like my mind was just like, okay, so.
Well, my thought is, I'm prepared.
Well, I wasn't even like that. It did not cross my mind. I woke up Friday morning at 4 o'clock to go to work, to drive a large box truck to deliver snacks. I got up the road a little while. I was like, you know what, this time I don't feel safe right now. And came back home, and it was like, let me worry about now. Let me worry about the things I have here.
So you came back home just in time for us to get slammed by the eye.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, like,
that's about when I woke up.
How silly does that make me look? That I left my wife and children in a situation that could have been very dangerous.
Yeah.
Because I was worried about delivering snacks. I'm not going to say the company. Because it irritated me. Because I knew, at that point, it was going to be bad. And they still wanted us to come to work. But the fact is that I still got up and was like, I'm going to try to weather this. Just so I can make sure.
Well, that's what we do. We do the next thing in front of us. And I mean, that's a good thing to do a lot of times. And whenever you know, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And that's what we have to do, is do the next thing in front of us. But I think we've been in this place this summer. We've had such a rough summer. And like, the whole point for us has been, let's audit what we're doing. Let's question why. Let's look at our systems. And I'm glad we did, because had we not downsized, we would be in a world of hurt right now.
It's true.
Like, because right now with significantly, like, I'm having to hand milk our cows, and thankfully we have just downsized and we just have the one. And I mean, part of that was devastating. I mean, we had loss. Yeah. But like, if I did not have my milk machine and I had 4 Jersey cows in milk right now, all I would be doing all day is milking these cows. Like, and not to mention that, like, our cows have tiny teats. Like Freya, we just dried her off. I mean, she makes 7 or 8 gallons a day, and she didn't have calf on her. Like, that would have been crazy.
And then what would you have done with it, too?
Right, we don't have any refrigeration. Yeah. I've been making clabber cheeses, so that's cool.
So, yeah, I wanted to look into that. And then, you know, I don't get milk anymore.
Because somebody downsized.
That's not true. We still get milk. But no, I mean, like, that's another thing. Is like, people think, oh, the milk has gone bad. Well, no, actually, it just clabbered. It doesn't go bad. And then you can make cheese, and then you can eat it later. Type of stuff like that. So, it's just learning your resources and using those resources.
Well, this has definitely caused me to reevaluate several of the things that we've been doing. Yeah. And I think for me, I turned on the camera and wanted to make lots of content because I want to help other people, but I also want to have the reminder for myself. I don't want to forget. You know, when I first started shooting garden tours, it wasn't for other people to see my garden. It was for me to be able to look back on my garden. And like, I'm wanting to document this so that I don't forget a few weeks from now when things are starting to get comfortable again. And just, we'll be fine. Yeah. We probably won't need that.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I started filming so I could go back and look. And I don't want to forget how funny I am. So when I just go back and I watch my stuff. And I'm like, you know what, dude? You are funny. And I can get my day going. I start my day every day, coffee and whatever video I shot the last time. Just so I can laugh and get my day started. Y'all should do the same. Subscribe and like, you know, right? But no, it's the same thing. Like, I really, you know, when I first started filming, my channel was called The Farther You Go, because I wanted video.
Oh, wow, I forgot that's what your channel is called. That's crazy.
And I started because I wanted to video like mine and my family's journeys and have fun. And then it turned into like, I actually do know a little bit of stuff, and I want to help share, and then I want people to grow with me. Yeah. And learning the same stuff that we're talking about now is like, I now have ideas for chicken tractors that I need to put some kind of cleating system that I can staple them down easier. I got a lot of stuff. I mean, work on getting a generator and work on how we're on a well too. And if we lose power, how am I going to get water? Like, we have a pond as well that I could go to, but that's only going to do so much.
I did wake up the first morning after the storm. I put on my apron, heard the Rocky theme song in my head. I was like, it's go time. Like calling water.
Yeah.
Little House on the Prairie style. Like Jeremiah's called me Ma all day.
You know, I heard the most disturbing thing, right? And I don't know where I heard it, but like Little House on the Prairie, Paul was always getting them into like
Morgan. That was from Morgan.
Oh, it was. Yeah. Okay. See,
I thought that was funny.
Apparently, I listened to her content.
We romanticized that.
Yeah.
We romanticized Little House on the Prairie, but Paul was leading them into some pretty precarious situations.
That's right. It was him. God.
It is. It's all fun when you're romanticizing, like living simply. And I know that this is a lifestyle that gets so romanticized. I romanticize it. Mm-hmm. And I'm also the person who's kind of like, I don't want to live without power. I don't want to do that. I can have it now. I want to have it. But I do recognize the benefit of having some backup systems, having some redundancy. It doesn't have to be crazy. Yeah. But even the things that don't cost a ton of money to do, like having shelf-stable food, having some water stored, having water filters, that's what saved us. And I knew I had this in place. That's why I didn't have a lot of water stored, because I had a lot of filters. We have ponds. We have, and so we, immediately got to filtering rainwater and stuff like that. And we've been fine. We've had everything that we needed. It's just been inconvenient and hot. But
oh, yeah. I grew up camping, so this is nothing for me.
Yeah, that's what the kids say. They're like, it feels like camping.
Yeah, the day, it was Friday night. We had all the windows open. She's like, oh my God. Can't deal with this. And I'm like, I was asleep. She smacked me to wake me up.
I will tell you, last night was a little sticky. Last night. Also, I was like, it was 3 days in. We ain't showered.
Yeah.
We've been doing the Marine Corps shower situation, with the exactly all the important parts.
Yeah, all the important. Yeah, just the important part.
But I was laying in bed last night. It was late. I had fallen asleep early and then woke up in the middle of the night, and I'm laying there, and there's no breeze. It's so warm. It's probably 78, 9 in our house.
I would rather fight mosquitoes and get a breeze than sleep in this muck.
Yeah, it was rough. And I was laying there and I was just like, man, I have really taken for granted some things. You do some soul searching when you're in the discomfort of, of that. I'm thankful. A lot of people have gone through stuff like this in the heat of summer. I know it's 85 here in South Carolina, which is warm to not have power, but it's not going to make you sick or anything. Right. It's just mildly uncomfortable. I would say that of this week. I am thankful, and there are people who are dealing with devastation. This has been an inconvenience that has been mildly uncomfortable.
Yeah, don't take this talk as we're sitting here complaining either.
No.
We know we are blessed.
Yes.
We know that it could be worse, but we also want people who come across this to understand that your priority as soon as you can get on the road shouldn't be going to Starbucks. It really needs to be going to find resources that are going to help you in a longer term.
And think about it before you have to. That's kind of my biggest thing right now, especially living in such an unsure political climate. And while there are things going on in the world that are really precarious, I'm a World War II junkie. I love reading about the whole era of really both World Wars, the Depression, the Dust Bowl, all of that. I've always loved to read about that time and just hear about how people were resourceful in the Victory Garden movement. That's been a big fuel for me. I grew up hearing stories of my pappy and the Depression. He grew up in the Depression, was a boy. And that really impacted me. But being in situations like now, when I look at the political climate, and this is coming from a pretty apolitical stance. I tell people, I'm like, this isn't me having a dog in the fight. I'm just saying hey, if you recognize the system's broken, maybe don't put all your hope in it providing for you.
That is true.
You should care enough about your family to do something. And I understand, societally speaking, everybody's not going to be able to do the same.
Right.
But if you do what you can, then we can come together and cover those who can't.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. There's the soapbox. I shot a whole video last night I will never post because I was hot. And stinky because I hadn't showered.
Right. Now she's still just warm and less stinky.
But I smell lovely. Like mint and
you smell nice. I might smell nice, but I can be angry. I can be not nice.
Well, thanks for letting me be on your channel. And for letting me shower and
yeah.
letting me get my stinky,
Of course.
my stinky pubescent boys. I had a whole car full
Yes.
over on the way here, and I'm
Yes.
like, "Yep, we are making the right choice."
I'm still gonna hold on to the image of Jeremiah coming out of the water,
There you go.
like Ariel. As soon as she comes
Yeah.
out, she gets her legs. She's like, "I wanna be a part of your world." I don't know if that's how the song goes.
He very well may jump in the pond.
I don't blame him.
That's a very real
Good
possibility.
stuff. Watch out for those catfish in there.
Yeah, they get you.
I appreciate you. Thank you all.